Our big programme on Friday night, 9 p.m, which is 1 year of Labour hell, basically, Starmer's year in power. So we're looking back on that catastrophic 12 months. And I was trying to point out, because I was sitting there with Alex Phillips, so we revived our little double act, Kevin Alex. And I was trying to, so basically I sat there and agreed with her for about 20 minutes. What she said. I was trying to point out that, look, on this station, you know, there's a lot of people like me and you and Alex and Mike and Julia Hartley-Brewer. You know, I'm not pretending we're left-wing. We tend to be on the right-wing side of things. I think we're centrist, veering rightwards. I think that's kind of our outlook. So, when we got a Labour government, I'm not pretending we weren't always going to be looking for trouble. We were going to try and undermine them, try and make them look bad, pick on any of their mistakes. That's the way it is. You know, right-wing outlets attack left-wing governments and vice versa. That's the way it goes. But what we've seen over the last 12 months has superseded that by a mile. This has gone way beyond politics. I wouldn't even care if they were bringing in, you know, viciously left-wing policies, as long as they were doing it with just a modicum of competency, or even, dare I say, efficiency. What we're looking at is, after 12 years, never mind politics, this has been just a catastrophe, an incompetent catastrophe by a government that doesn't know what it is, run by a Prime Minister who doesn't know who he is. They have been rudderless, hopeless, U-turned on every significant policy, and their inefficiency is off the scale. As I say, this hasn't just been a bad year, it's been a shockingly catastrophic year. And today, the pollster guru, John Curtice, has said so, that this has been the worst first year by any British Prime Minister in history, and that's in terms of polling. It is quite extraordinary how bad they've been, isn't it?
I mean, it has just been one disaster after another from the earliest days of this administration, you know, plunged as it was into those summer riots, which was so catastrophically mishandled by Keir Starmer, the cover-up over Southport, the denigrating of millions of furious and deeply upset voters as far-right thugs, you know, on and on and on it's gone, the tanking of the economy. You know, we could sit here and list all that stuff, the winter fuel fiasco, on and on. And just Keir, but really, what does it boil down to? It boils down to Keir Starmer's personality and his inadequacies as a leader of our country. And I remember watching him on a couple of interviews, some of those big prime ministerial, they were auditions really, because at the time he was leader of the opposition in the run-up to the election a year or so ago. I remember watching him and thinking to myself, my God, this guy is going to be hated because he really looks and sounds weak. And if he sounded and looked weak in the run-up to an election when he was giving it his all, we had no idea what was to come. And you make the point about many of us on Talk being, you know, admittedly partisan. And I am, you know, my partner is deputy leader of Reform, but I also want the best for our country. And I've supported and said many good things about Labour administrations in the past. I mean, I found a lot to admire. I will admit it. I found a lot to admire about aspects of Tony Blair's administration in the heyday, the highlights of the Blair years. This has been an unmitigated disaster, and in 20 years of political reporting, witnessing all manner of incompetence and ineptitude, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, a lot of the stuff that Tony Blair brought in, I absolutely despised, and I still think Tony Blair destroyed a lot of the structure of this country, the cultural structure of this country, and he's got a lot of questions to answer. But that isn't the point. The point is, I always expected not to like what Tony Blair was going to do, but in fairness, he knew what he wanted to do, and he brought in what he wanted to do with competence and efficiency. He was dynamic. He said what he was going to do, and he did it. And you couldn't complain. I mean, all I was left doing, like yourself probably, just saying politically I don't agree with this guy. But with Keir Starmer, as I say, if only we could just say, well, I don't like his politics. I don't even know what his politics are, to be honest with you. But what I don't like about him, what I'm terrified about him, is that he's useless. And so are all his front bench shadow cabinet mates as well. They're all hopeless. The disaster, the kind of shambles of it is off the scale. Every policy he's come up with, he's U-turned on. Even last week he began to U-turn on his speeches. He suddenly said, oh, I wish I didn't say that island of strangers. I deeply regret that. So it's like anything he does that he hears someone didn't like, he goes, oh, sorry about that, I'm U-turning on that, I'm sorry. He's a straw man, he's a jellyfish. He's got no backbone and no idea what he stands for. That's what John Curtice said. His big problem is after a year, the electorate have no idea what he stands for.
Well, I don't think what he stands for appears to be, the future greatness of our country, does he? Does it? As he's busy selling off parts of our overseas territory. Well, worse than that, we actually have to pay for it. I mean, there have been so many betrayals by this Prime Minister, and on the key issues that voters really care about, right up there being immigration and the tidal wave of migrants crossing the Channel. His achievements after a year are zero. In fact, things have got worse. It's the worst ever year so far for Channel migrant crossings. So I don't think this is recoverable. The guy cannot, I don't think, get over this first year and the impression that he's created. But what is so terrifying is the amount of damage he's done in 12 months to our country. How is this going to look a year from now?
Apparently Angela Rayner, who's on manoeuvres, her people believe that they can install Angela Rayner into number 10 within a year. They don't think Starmer's got long to last. I tell you what was very significant, though, Isabel, was towards the end of last week, where he had to buckle to his 130 or so backbench rebels. Many of them left-wing, but many of them just constituency MPs worried about their jobs. They're thinking, if this guy carries on in power, if Keir Starmer is the Prime Minister when we come round to the next election, I lose my job. I will be voted out. So backbenchers are starting to fear that this guy will lose them their seats. And that's when a Prime Minister loses his authority. And the fact that he completely U-turned, well, he's U-turned now on, of course, the winter fuel allowance, the rape gang inquiry, and now the welfare bill, and also his island of strangers speech. So that's 4 complete U-turns since June the 9th. Now, the backbenchers are not impressed by that, and they now know that they've got the Prime Minister in their pocket. He will do anything they say. So they're running the country now, not the Prime Minister, which is even worse than before.
Well, undoubtedly, he will be replaced. And yes, now the smart money seems to have moved from Health Secretary Wes Streeting to the more charismatic, dynamic Big Ange. And, I think she is more of a political challenge for parties like Reform, which is beginning to really eat into traditional Labour votes. Angela Rayner isn't everybody's cup of tea, but at least she has charisma. At least she's engaging. At least she's fun to watch and listen to. I mean, she's hard left. And when it comes to her policies, I think we can have a pretty good debate about those. But she is, I think she offers Labour a bit more hope of not being absolutely trounced at the next election than the current clown in number 10.
Because I think people know what she stands for. I mean, you're right. I think she's dangerously left-wing. She's up there with Corbyn. She really is. But just like Corbyn, with Corbyn, you knew where you stood. You might not agree with him, but you knew where he stood. Same with Rayner. You know where she stands. I don't know what the hell Starmer stands for, except, please, can I be Prime Minister? That's it. It's a mess, Isabel. It's a mess.